Well, howdy. So, I've decided that I need a small counter next to my actual counter to hold things that shouldn't sit on my counter the whole time. Rice maker, egg cooker, water boiler for things like tea, and a small blender that I use to blend my protein shakes. And I decided that since I have been reclaiming wood pallets, I would make it entirely out of pallet wood. It's not going to be pretty, it's going to be functional. Functional. Got saw, drills, sander, screws. Not going to do any fancy joinery, number one, because I don't have the equipment, number two, because I don't know how to do it. And I don't know how much actual wood I'm going to end up using before this project is done, so we're going to roll with it. In an effort to avoid hereto shall not be mentioned mishaps during filming these, just move the position of the camera. So this first one's going to be kind of a jump transition. You'll get used to it. Or if you don't, deal with it. I don't care. You're the one that's watching this. And if you watched all 40 seconds that I decided to put in of me warming up stew for 2 minutes last time, that's on you. Don't complain to me about it. You can skip these things. Or choose to not watch. I don't care. Anyway, we're gonna set up a layout because, I don't know, I probably should or something. We got a lot of pieces, a lot of good pieces, some bad pieces, but should I declutter this first? Yeah. Our layout is going to be about this size. I'm going to need to actually measure all of this. And then I'm just going to cut all these things to fit it, not you. Use these. Just these. If I run out, I have more. Oh, look. I counted right. And that's going to be a table. So I got a little bit lucky and a little bit not. Lucky in that these two pieces are the same size. Same size, both flush. Unlucky in that these pieces are not. You know, luckily for me, luck is a fickle thing, both good and bad. So if you ever say, oh, I'm just not lucky, it means you're not unlucky either. It means you just have bad planning. You can fix that. You know, luck is an excuse used by people who don't have proper planning. I need my square. Or, as some people may know The Office as a bit of a better reference for them, a real man makes his own luck, said by Dwight K. Schrute in the holiday gift-giving episode. I'm just going to try and line this guy up so I have just a little bit of space on there. That looks nice. Yep. I have the blade as far down as it can go, which is still not thick enough for this piece, but I'll just flush cut it at the end. Perfect. All right. Now I flush cut, which this time I will not subject you to. But at a later date, who knows? I might have you watch me cut through a piece of wood. Apparently some people dislike when I do woodworking stuff and I don't add pilot holes. So this time around, I am both adding pilot holes and wood glue. Look at me, so nice, so caring about the fine joinery of my craft. He said sarcastically, if it wasn't already obvious. I'm too far on that side, oh well. Details don't matter unless they matter to you. or more reasonably for most of us, to our job description, specifically, to our boss and the people who write our paychecks. Details only matter if they matter for what you're doing. For this specific function, this table doesn't have to go anywhere specifically. It doesn't have to be a certain size, it doesn't have to be a certain height, weight, shape, color, doesn't have to do most things that normal people want in like a small table. Like it doesn't have to have a drawer, it doesn't have to have a little cabinet space underneath it. It just has to have things on top of it. It has to function as a table, the same way that my workbench here functions as a table. It's a countertop from my parents that they had replaced, and they gave it to me to turn into a workbench. I've decided now it's not going to actually be a workbench. It's going to sit in that corner of my garage and be a small little cocktail table. But in the meantime, it will serve as my workbench. Now, for this pilot hole is for Danielle, who said that I need pilot holes. There, pilot hole. Happy? Better be. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's square. It's my good eye that's looking at it. So I was joking when I said it was square, but you know, it really is. Or, you know, close enough to be statistically insignificant. Down there is another matter, but up there, it's fine. So, square may have been a bit, you know, overemphasizing it, but luckily, I'm a genius. And so is everybody watching this. Believe it or not, you're smarter than you think. You ever heard the term monkey see, monkey do? Believe it or not, friend, you are indeed a monkey. Now, the fun part about being a monkey is that we got big brain, and brain want banana. Now, when your brain wants a banana, you do what monkey brain does. You take all of your past experience and you leverage that to figure out how to get banana. I said that like the Minions and I hate myself now. But everything that you have done in your life actually leads to an understanding of how to do other stuff in your life. Nothing you learn is learned in a vacuum. Everything comes through the lens of that which you already know. If you don't think you know something, you probably know more about it than you think you do. Because if you think you know nothing, number one, you're wiser than you seem. Number two, you're actually wrong. But again, humans have a superpower, and it's not opposable thumbs, it's actually pattern recognition. It's the same way I got a perfect score on the science portion of my ACT. It's worthless, but it means that I know how to recognize patterns, and I know how to apply those patterns to other stuff in my life. And by recognizing those patterns, I can make stuff happen and work that the good Lord did not intend. Now we got the fun part of this. We got our frame done. It's pretty square, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it looks square to me. But now, the fun part, actually making the tabletop. Now, as I said, I have all these pieces, but they kind of suck. Luckily, they just need to be good enough. Again, this table is not a table of making perfection. I'm not making Chair by Ron Swanson. I am making Side Table by Connor. So they just need to be kind of flat-ish together. I mean, they won't be perfect. And unfortunately, I've decided I want overhang, which means that I need an extra piece. And it's going to be a little bit ugly. Let's be honest, it's going to be a lot bit ugly. But I am perfectly capable of handling that. Son of a bitch. It can all go sideways and still be fine. That's a lesson right there. Not one I intended to tell on here. But yeah, things can go sideways and still be fine. There's that it's not a common saying. It's a saying, genius hits a mark no one else can. No, it's yada 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 something. Genius hits a mark no one else can. Creativity hits a mark no one else can see. Or something like that. So I had wanted to do all boards running forward. However, I have the perfect amount of overhang when I lay all my boards sideways. I'm failing upward, which is, the way that most people who are currently in positions of power in the world seem to have found themselves there, because not a one of them knows what the fuck they're doing. Power is a game of nepotism and money, and if you have either, you can do whatever you want. I have neither, so I have to get by with my good looks, charm, and woodworking skill. So really just the first two. This piece is cracked. Flat enough. See? And then we just jigsaw these things together. You're warped. And eventually, things come together the way we want them to. Jesus, it's like none of this is actually supposed to fit together. Crazy how that happens. So there's some research done a while back about the idea of ritual in daily life and how ordinary people use ritual to both give themselves an edge and give themselves an out. Now, when I say ritual, I mean something like stepping up to the free throw line, doing 2 drops down, you wipe sweat off your shoulder, you pull on your earlobe, and then you make your shot. That's a ritual. And a lot of people, especially professional athletes, and high-performing musical artists have a lot of rituals. But people have rituals everywhere all the time for whatever amount of silly reasons they can find. The average person has a wake-up ritual, a go-to-sleep ritual, rituals for starting work every day. I myself like to get to work, start at my computer, go grab a pot of coffee, check in with the person who needs to tell me what I'm doing all day, and then I start working. That's my morning ritual. Rituals can sometimes go wrong, and research has actually found that that's fine. People use ritual as a way of having a scapegoat as well. If the day's going bad, something's going wrong, you can say, I messed up my ritual this morning, the day's bad, we'll start again tomorrow. And that's not a bad thing. Having ritual can serve as a way to block out things that aren't good. But becoming a slave to it is not. Sometimes there is a plan and the plan goes wrong, and it's fine to just say, hey, the plan went wrong. We can move forward from this. But occasionally you have to say, hey, there was no plan, and that's fine too. I'm doing the best that I can with the lack of planning that I was given, and curse the gods. And in all my hubris, I shall find a way regardless. Sometimes you just need to say, fuck it, there's no plan, we're gonna do it my way. So when you take accountability and you say, fuck it, I'm gonna do it my way, that's taking accountability for yourself. So number one, give yourself a hand, because a lot of people don't take accountability. They, send it off and say, hey, this other person, it's their job to be accountable for this, that, and the other thing. No, If you're involved, you're accountable, period. That's the whole discussion. So the fun part of accountability is the dark side of the accountability monster. If everything goes right, you're a hero. If everything doesn't, you're an idiot. But at the same time, you have to do something. Accountability means that you're taking the reins. And if that bucking bronco bucks the wrong way, lands you on your ass, and you break something, that's still on you. So before you take the accountability monster out for a ride, make sure you're ready for it. Not everyone is. And the other thing to remember, success isn't always just your own. Occasionally, funny enough, success comes with the help of others. Arnold Schwarzenegger has this incredible speech about how there's no such thing as the self-made man. If you haven't listened to it, do so. It's life-changing. Long story short, you're made and influenced by the people around you. You need them and they need you. And without them, you'd be nothing. Life is built by community. I need to open this. All I'm trying to say here is that you take the wins with a grain of humility and you thank the people that did it with you. You take the losses on your shoulders, you say, that's my bad, I fucked up, I'll do better next time. That's it. So I've said before, that will be backwards. I've said before that the only way to stop from dying is to live new experiences. Now, the only way to do new things is to not be afraid to fuck up a lot of new things real fast. I, for instance, fucked up by buying the wrong color of screw. I've been doing this entire thing so far with these nice black deck screws. I now realize that I bought sort of an orangish tan screw as my replacement. I didn't realize that the color of the label was the color of the screw. I saw 3-inch, 1-pound net weight screws and I thought, just like my box back home. Now we have to make do with tan screws. You can't be afraid to fuck up. Life is fucking up. You're just gonna deal with it. It's how you move through it that determines the quality of what you do after that. So I made this mistake and I have since exchanged a couple of the screws along the back of this for the black screws I'll put into the top so we don't have any clashing screws in the visible area. We'll move past this. I think it was Epictetus, it was either Epictetus or Seneca, they said, one cannot learn new things unless one is willing to be thought of as a fool. Anytime you learn something new, the first catchy, cool, shiny new thing is going to speak to you and it's going to say, hey, tell this to all your friends. And you're going to say it and they're going to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then they're going to never talk to you about it again. And you're going to realize you sounded like an idiot. It's going to happen more often than not. School has taught us to regurgitate information rather than take it in and think about it. When the only way to truly learn something new is to take it in and think about it, never telling anyone until you have had time to formulate your own thoughts and opinions about it. On a similar note, don't get all of your information from a single source. Get conflicting sources. If you believe A, listen to people who believe B. And if they make some sense, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But if you only listen to sources that say A, B is going to be, the worst thing in the world. I don't care what you're talking about. Climate change, reproductive rights, politics, woodworking. If you only believe one thing and you only listen to other people who believe, winding down for the night. I'm gonna basically sand this thing down and then I'll put legs on it tomorrow. The point I'm really trying to get across here is that life's more interesting when you do new stuff. I made a tabletop. Never done this before. Seemed like a good idea. Did it. Feel good about it. Do new things, try new stuff, mess up a lot, learn from it. You learn more from your mistakes than you ever do from your successes. That's just the simple way of it. So all that I have to really leave you with is be okay with messing up. Be okay with messing up publicly. Be okay with not just broadcasting your failures, but like telling the people who would know best what you messed up. Because most of the time, if you're new to something and you're asking people or you're telling people who are doing it years in advance, they'll tell you a lot of good, useful tips. They'll say things like, oh, you should have done this, not this. You can do that next time. Or I have this tool, it helped me a lot. Or I made this thing, I made that thing. They're going to help you out. People like to be helpful. I don't know where the whole idea of if somebody does something new and they get it wrong, we're going to point and laugh at them came from. It's a terrible idea and it's blatantly untrue. Go anywhere, do anything, ask people who have done it for longer. They're going to help you out, right? Do new things, make mistakes, have fun with it. See you tomorrow to put lights on this guy.